Hi, so thank you so much for joining us today. We're so glad to have you.
Yes, ma'am. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. So, of course, what brought you here is your podcast.
Absolutely.
Before we delve deep into that, go ahead and tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Well, of course, my name is Chad, if you didn't know that. I was actually born in Germany, but I grew up in Louisiana. Have five siblings, four brothers and one sister. My mom pretty much raised us for a majority of our lives or whatnot. I don't know. I'm pretty private person, so
hmm
I like to keep a lot of stuff to myself.
Like keeping under wraps.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand. So let's go ahead and talk about your podcast. The name of your podcast is Planting Seeds.
Right.
How did you come up with that concept?
Well, it's not about farming or anything like that. It's a little subliminal. It's more or less just topics that I'm going to discuss or that we're going to discuss on our podcast that would, make people think. Every topic that we're going to cover is strategically planned to make people, think about it afterwards, and,
Okay.
it's real life stuff.
Awesome. What inspired you to start this podcast?
Man, really about a couple of years ago, I kind of fell into the YouTube rabbit hole, video after video. But there was a few videos that piqued my interest, and a lot of them had to do with conspiracies, and some of them were conspiracy that I had never, heard of. And the more I got to, watching the videos and seeing what looked to me as legit, documentations, and they would name their resources. It kind of opened my eyes to a lot of what's going on in the world, and how sometimes things happen to you in your past, and you really don't think about it till something kind of comes up, maybe a year or two from then, and then something from your past kind of makes sense, and you start puzzling stuff together and be like, oh,
Definitely.
it all kind of makes sense now.
Mhm.
So, that kind of inspired me to kind of put my own voice out there, did my own research, have my own perspective on it, see if I could gain my own audience.
Awesome. Well, that sounds super interesting, and we definitely want to talk more about that. Before we talk about your podcast, I do want to go ahead and ask a couple of rapid fire questions.
Okay.
All right. So let's start off with favorite music, food, movie, book, show.
Music, food, movie, book, show.
Yes.
Music, it would have to be probably oldies. I think I have a old soul. I don't know if it was listening, to the music that my mom listened to. She used to always listen to music when she cleaned the house when we were, younger, and that was her, choice of music. And for some reason, it's embedded in me. That's still to this day my choice of music. I use it when I clean, when I cook, when I just want to have my alone time and deep thought. So that's the music. Book, movie. What was the next one?
Book, movie, whichever.
Book. I'm not really a reader anymore, but back in middle school when we had like the accelerated readers program, and the reward was like field trips and things like that. I think the last book that I read that I actually had a lot of interest in was called Tears of a Tiger.
Don't think I've read that one.
Yeah, it's a really good book. It's probably a middle school, level type of book. So I don't want you to think that you're about to go get this thick, philosophy
Right.
type of book to read. But it's a really good read. Foods from Louisiana, so it would have to be gumbo. I actually miss it to this day. I actually want some now. That you brought it up.
Yeah. Sounds good.
And what was that? What was the next two?
Next two would be show. Well, really just show is left.
Show?
Do you have a favorite TV show?
I do. It may surprise you actually. Judge Judy. I don't know if you're familiar with it.
Yeah, I'm familiar.
Yeah,
I love it.
I love me some Judge Judy. And the crazy thing is, I'm like the polar opposite of Judge Judy. I'm a little more shelled and reserved, But I think Judge Judy is like the inner me, the me that wants to come out sometimes.
Right.
So I love watching her eat people up.
Yeah, we definitely all have learned a lot from Judge Judy. So awesome. I'll follow that up by another question as well, another random question for you. Do you have a hero?
Like a superhero, hero?
However you perceive the word hero, or however you take that in.
I don't know. The word hero to me is kind of over exaggerated.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look around. Look around the world. I mean, really, there's no heroes. People can, be inspirations, to one another. But when you're speaking on hero and the term of what it's supposed to encompass, there's no heroes fixing what's going around this world. And to be honest with you, I think the people who would have to play hero is the same ones who put this world in this position. So I'm not big on heroes.
Yeah, well,
I'm a realist.
Yep, you're a realist. Well, you definitely sound super insightful. So another question I have for you, what is the best vacation that you've ever taken, and why is that?
Well, my wife and I actually took a cruise to Belize. In my opinion, that was the best vacation. That was one of a few cruises that we took, and that was the best one. It wasn't so much because of the destination or the beauty that you would expect to come with an island. It was more or less because of what I've learned. Like the locals, had the opportunity to get a personal tour. And a good thing about that was it wasn't like the paid for tour with the group people where you're probably going to get the politically correct, tour guide or whatnot. This was just, the person, his vehicle, myself, and my wife. And we took a chance. We was kind of nervous at first. I had to pull him to the side, like dead serious. And I'm like, look, this is my wife. We on vacation. We trying to enjoy our time. We ain't trying to get snatched up. We ain't got it like that, like for real. So, but it was good because he took us and he drove us around the different, parts. Keep in mind, this island is like, half of it is like, I know it's like a destination for vacations, but in all reality, it really shouldn't be. I mean, it's on the beach, but when you get into the mainland of the island, it was actually horrendous. Like the houses that we're accustomed to see are not the houses that's over there. It's just like tin. It's like third world. He told us about the government and how shady the government was. He pretty much kept it real with us and let us know that they go through their own share of problems, but the greatest thing about it was he was like full of life, full of energy, full of wisdom. I took a lot. It humbled me. I took a lot from that vacation.
Awesome.
So that was probably the best one.
Awesome. Well, look, it seems like you've experienced a lot and you have a lot to share. So we're excited to hear about that. Just going back to your podcast, a couple more questions I have about that. What are your overall hopes for the podcast?
So this would kind of go back to the hero question, even though I said I don't believe in this. So this is more or less like a pipe dream, or me being an idealistic person for a second. I guess maybe that everyone kind of bands together, wakes up all at the same time, and the 1% that's in control, that's controlling the masses, maybe the masses do something about it. I mean, we're not fools. We know that the world shouldn't be turning the way that it is.
Right. So you're wanting to wake everybody up.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Okay. Sounds good.
Why not?
Do you have any experience with podcasting or streaming?
No. Absolutely no experience with podcasting, photography, videography, or whatever it's called. None of that. However, I do think I have the ability of holding a conversation. I can make valid points. I know how to research. I was able to hook up the equipment, by myself with a few help from some random people on YouTube, but it's hooked up.
Yeah,
but no experience. But I'm about to gain some pretty much. Yeah. I got to jump in the water.
Yeah, you got to get your feet wet. So, And you kind of mentioned what you'll be discussing, but will you also
I'm sorry, you look absolutely good. Oh my goodness.
be?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Thank you. Now, you kind of mentioned before, as far as the conspiracies and what you plan to discuss with us. What also do you plan to do with your podcast? Do you plan on conducting interviews or
That
expanding?
is a hope. It's a plan. It's a hope. It's something I definitely, or we definitely do want to happen. As of right now, we have 0 friends, 0 subscribers, so we're pretty much starting from the ground up. But the hope is that we do interview anyone, any walk of life, anyone around the world who's interested, who has a valid opinion to share, or a story that pertains to one of our episodes, whether it's a past or upcoming one, doesn't matter. And in all honesty, who we interview is really just going to be determined by who wants to be interviewed. Just leaving the platform open for anyone, really.
Okay, well, that sounds awesome. We definitely appreciate your time. Oh, also, you kept saying we, but you didn't mention any type of co-host. Will you have someone co-hosting alongside?
Yeah, actually, I have been saying we. Yes, my wife will actually be accompanying me in the podcast. Her name is actually Brianna.
Okay.
I'm surprised you don't know her because she's actually right here. This is my wonderful, beautiful wife, Brianna. So you can go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yes, absolutely. So, as my husband stated, my name is Brianna. You guys can call me Bree. We are a part of the Planting Seeds podcast. We look forward to speaking with you guys and sharing a little parts of what we've learned and parts of who we are with you. So, we definitely look forward to it.
Also, we're also developing other channels that's kind of separate from the podcast.
Right, certain vlogs, random videos,
Yeah,
things
I
of that
can kind of
nature.
show my personality a little bit because, in all honesty, I'm actually a shy shell person. Don't have many friends, so this is my way of trying to kind of branch out to the world.
The both of us. So we were definitely looking forward to it, and
She have more friends than me.
and we're looking forward to your feedback. So we appreciate you for watching. Make sure that you subscribe, like, comment, and follow our other pages as well.
Yes, and seriously, you'll enjoy the show. We're new. We'll have our little stumbles, but I promise you, we'll get up to speed. You'll enjoy it. Please rise.